The short answer to your question is, I don't know. Of course, that's a question a lot of people ask me. How did you select the topic of Lurleen Wallace? It just came to me. I had written 5 books in 6 years, and I had taken a 3-year break in order to found American Women Writers National Museum here in Washington, D.C. I took a 3-year break. And I was looking around for biography. I wanted to write a biography. I've written several genres, and biography was something I had not yet done. And just suddenly, the name Lurleen Wallace came into my mind. I really don't know why. So I started researching, and of course, as a biographer, what you want is something about someone about whom not much has been written. And not much was written about Lurleen Wallace. So I started researching, but what was written about her portrayed her as vapid, sort of giggly, mousy housewife. And I thought, wait a minute. Lurleen Wallace was governor of Alabama in 1967 and part of 1968. Those were the most tumultuous years in America's history. How could someone be the only woman governor in the United States and be governor of Alabama in the South, where every night we could watch blacks and whites clashing violently on TV, and that was the civil rights era? How could someone like that be nurturing and vapid and giggly? So I started researching, and there was very little material, but I found the most fascinating quote, and I'm just going to read it to you. And it was the quote when she died. And it was from Dr. Ralph Abernathy, who was a black, high-profile activist with the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. And he was eulogizing Governor Lurleen. And he said of her, "A dark shadow has been cast across the horizon of America by the death of the Honorable Governor Lurleen Wallace." And Dr. Abernathy was a top Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King lieutenant. And I thought, wait a minute. Lurleen Wallace's husband, George Wallace, he's most famous for saying, "Segregation forever." And Dr. Abernathy is praising the wife of a segregationist in 1967. The woman he's praising, Lurleen Wallace, must have been an extraordinary woman. And such praise was also a very brave act for Dr. Abernathy. So I wanted to know this woman better. I thought, who was this woman, Lurleen Wallace, to merit such extraordinary praise in an extraordinary time? With regard to Evita, when I decided I would do a biography of Lurleen, I looked around for a comparable woman in that time period. Not many women held public office, and Lurleen was the only woman governor in America, so I looked worldwide. And the only women who were very high profile then, mostly, were women who had inherited their power, like members of royalty or major financial families. But I came across Evita Peron in Argentina, who was in approximately the same time period. And when I started looking at both of their lives, the parallels were extraordinary. There were eerie parallels in dates and times that matched, and both were what I call chrysalis women. That is, they were women who started out in they had no high school education, and they blossomed from that chrysalis into these fabulous women of great power. Evita Peron was at one time nominated by international publications as the most powerful woman in the world. And Lurleen Wallace, Governor Wallace, was nominated in 1966 as the most admired woman in America.